Today we're going to be making this very simple cable stitch scarf. And for this project, I'm going to be using some Lion brand Fisherman's wool. And this is size 4 medium weight wool yarn, and this is 8 ounces. And you will need 2 skeins to complete this scarf, and with the leftover yarn, I am going to make a beanie, so check the links in the description for that beanie tutorial. And we'll also be using a size G or 6 or 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. And we're going to begin by attaching the yarn to our crochet hook and then chaining 36. And once you have your 36 chains in place, then you're going to turn them over so that you can access these back bumps back here. And working in this very first back bump, we're going to place 1 single crochet. And we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each of the back bumps in our row. So when we get to the end of our row, we should have a total of 36 single crochets in the back bump. And at the end of your row, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. And we're going to skip our very first stitch right here, and then we're going to place 1 double crochet in our next 3 stitches. And then we're going to go back to our skipped stitch and place a double crochet. So you're just going to yarn over and then insert your crochet hook in that stitch. And then when you yarn over and pull back up, you're going to pull it all the way up so that your crochet hook is parallel to your work like this. Then you're just going to finish out your double crochet stitch. And then we're going to skip our next stitch right here and make sure that you're not accidentally skipping this stitch that you've already worked in, but the next stitch, and then you're going to place 1 double crochet in your next 3 stitches. And then again, we're going to place a double crochet in our skipped stitch. And that's what it looks like on the front, and on the back it looks very similar. And that is it. We're just going to repeat that pattern going across our row. And at the very end of your row, you're just going to add a double crochet stitch right here in your last stitch. And we won't work in this stitch, but it's just to sort of frame the edge here. So from here, we're going to chain 2. And for our next row, we are just going to repeat our last row. There is one change, and that is at the beginning, make sure you don't include your first stitch because that's just there to edge this side so that it lines up with this side. So to begin, we're going to skip 2 stitches and then work in this second skip stitch for our cable stitch. And each row should have 9 cable stitches. And I forgot an important detail. When you get to the end of each of your rows, rather than placing a double crochet in the top of your last stitch right here like we did for our very first row, you're going to place it around this gap right here. And that gives you a much cleaner edge. And so when the time comes that you need to add in more yarn, what you're going to do is grab your next strand of yarn and just simply yarn over with your next strand and then just begin to work with it. So I find it's helpful if you can kind of pinch that tail so that the yarn doesn't move. Just like that. From here, you can continue working with your new strand of yarn, and I usually tie my 2 tails together and crochet over them in the following row. And I repeated my rows of my cable stitch for a total of 112 rows. But you can crochet this to any length that you would want. That was just the right length for me. At the end of your last row, make sure you've placed your last stitch around your chain 2 stitch to sort of create your border. Then we're going to cut and tie off our yarn. And from here, we're going to attach the fringes to the edge, so you don't really have to worry about hiding your starting or ending tail because they will blend in with the fringe. And for each fringe knot, you're going to need 3 strands of yarn cut to roughly 10 inches each. And I am working along my short edges, and I am going to place 1 fringe tassel knot in this first stitch right here, and then in every other stitch in my row. So you're going to insert your crochet hook inside your first stitch, and then grab your 3 strands of yarn and pull them through like this to create a loop. And you want to try to even up the ends of your yarn and include any tails nearby. And you're just going to insert your fingers in your loop and pull your tails through the loop, and then pull your tails nice and tight. So now you are done with your French tassel knot, and you're just going to want to repeat this in every other stitch or every stitch depending on how thick you want your border. Please let me know in the comments below if you experienced any issues while you were making this, and I will do my best to help you out. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Crochet with Julie. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.